Welcome to our channel, where hidden truths, intense emotions, and explosive conflicts take center stage. Here, we dive deep into dramatic storylines, complex characters, and the moments that change everything, uncovering the motivations, betrayals, and inner struggles that drive each story forward. Our goal is not just to tell what happens, but to explore why it happens, bringing you gripping narratives and sharp insights that keep you questioning every secret and every choice. Thank you for joining us as we unravel the drama behind the gates. Sharon arrives carrying a truth that has fermented in silence for years, a truth heavy enough to warp every life it touches. Her decision to reveal it is not born from mercy alone, but from exhaustion, fear, and a growing sense that secrecy has begun to consume her. She has spent too long watching from the margins as lies solidified into reality, knowing that every passing day tightened the trap around all of them. When she finally exposes the truth about June's parentage, the act feels less like confession and more like detonation. Anita's reaction is immediate and visceral. The revelation strikes her with such force that it momentarily strips her of language, of reason, of any stable sense of self. Everything she believed she understood about her family fractures at once. The past, once neatly arranged in her mind, collapses into chaos. Memories she trusted now feel staged, manipulated to keep her obedient and unaware. Anger surges through her, but it collides violently with disbelief, creating a storm of emotions she cannot contain or organize. As the shock settles, Anita's anger sharpens into something more focused and dangerous. She feels humiliated by her own ignorance, furious that such a monumental truth was hidden from her while she was expected to uphold loyalty and trust without question. The betrayal cuts deepest because it comes from people she believed incapable of such cruelty. Vernon's role in the secret becomes a haunting presence in her thoughts, forcing her to confront the possibility that the man she trusted has been living a double life, one built on omission and deceit. Sharon, meanwhile, is not spared by the truth she reveals. Relief does not come as she expected. Instead, she is confronted by the wreckage of her decision as it unfolds in real time. She understands that exposing the truth may permanently sever whatever fragile connections remain between them. Yet she also knows that continuing the lie would have been another form of violence. Her internal conflict intensifies as guilt battles self-preservation. She questions whether she revealed the truth to protect Anita or to finally unburden herself of years of shame. June becomes the silent epicenter of the fallout, even in her absence. Her existence, once uncomplicated, is now redefined by a secret she never asked to carry. Anita's thoughts circle around June obsessively, torn between maternal instinct and a creeping sense of alienation. She wonders how much of June's life has been shaped by deception, and whether love itself has been manipulated as part of a larger strategy to maintain appearances. The possibility that June's identity has been constructed on a lie fills Anita with both sorrow and resentment. Vernon's shadow looms large over every thought. Anita's anger begins to transform into a cold, calculating fury as she considers the depth of his involvement. She realizes that this secret required constant vigilance, deliberate choices, and repeated acts of betrayal. Each day Vernon chose silence was a decision made against her. This understanding pushes Anita toward a breaking point, where emotional pain hardens into resolve. She begins to contemplate consequences, not only for Vernon, but for everyone who benefited from her ignorance. Sharon's motivations grow increasingly complex as the aftermath unfolds. She is forced to confront her own complicity in shaping a false reality. Her love for June has always been genuine, yet it has existed alongside fear and selfishness. She knows that by staying silent for so long, she allowed others to control the narrative. Now, having shattered that control, she fears retaliation, rejection, and the possibility that she has lost the right to claim moral ground. Anita's internal conflict intensifies as she struggles to reconcile her love for June with the rage she feels toward the adults who orchestrated the lie. She recognizes the danger of misdirecting her anger, yet she cannot escape the emotional chaos threatening to overwhelm her. Every option before her feels destructive. Confrontation promises devastation, while silence demands a level of emotional repression she no longer possesses. She is trapped between the desire for truth and the instinct to protect what remains of her family. As pressure mounts, Anita's behavior begins to shift. Her restraint fractures, replaced by impulsive decisions driven by the need to regain control. She starts to question everyone around her, seeing manipulation where she once saw loyalty. Trust becomes a liability. This growing paranoia isolates her, intensifying her suffering and pushing her further toward emotional extremes. The more she seeks clarity, the more fragmented her world becomes. Sharon, watching Anita unravel, experiences a surge of regret mixed with defensiveness. She tells herself that the damage was inevitable, that the truth would have destroyed them regardless of timing. Yet she cannot escape the feeling that her confession has set off a chain reaction she can no longer contain. Her attempts to justify her actions feel hollow in the face of Anita's pain. Survival instincts kick in, urging her to protect herself, even if it means distancing herself emotionally from the consequences she helped create. The situation escalates as unspoken tensions harden into emotional standoffs. Anita begins to recognize that this betrayal is not an isolated act, but part of a larger pattern of control and silence. This realization fuels her anger further, transforming it into a determination to dismantle the structures that kept her in the dark. She contemplates exposing the truth publicly, knowing such a move would not only punish those responsible, but also permanently alter June's life. June's future becomes the most agonizing variable. Anita grapples with the ethical weight of her choices, aware that any action she takes will ripple outward, shaping June's identity and sense of belonging. Protecting June means confronting painful truths, yet revealing them risks inflicting irreparable emotional harm. This dilemma paralyzes Anita, forcing her to confront the limits of her strength and compassion. Sharon senses that she is losing control of the narrative she once guarded so fiercely. The truth, now unleashed, begins to take on a life of its own. She realizes that her role has shifted from guardian to catalyst, and that she may become the primary target of blame. Fear drives her to consider further manipulations, small acts of self-defense that threaten to deepen the damage already done. As emotions spiral, all parties are pushed toward irreversible decisions. Anita's anger sharpens into resolve, Sharon's guilt hardens into defensiveness, and Vernon's absence becomes an accusation in itself. Each character is cornered by the consequences of their choices, stripped of the illusions that once protected them. What remains is raw emotion, exposed and volatile, waiting for a spark. The truth about June is no longer just a secret. It is a weapon, capable of destroying relationships, identities, and futures. As the characters stand on the brink of collapse, it becomes clear that there will be no clean resolution, no painless path forward. The revelation has permanently altered the balance of power, leaving everyone vulnerable and exposed. In this suffocating aftermath, the greatest danger is not the truth itself, but the lengths to which each person is willing to go to survive it. As the story draws to a tense close, one thing becomes painfully clear. Once the truth is revealed, there is no returning to who these characters once were. The weight of long-buried secrets presses down on every decision, turning love into conflict and loyalty into a test of survival. Anger lingers unresolved, guilt refuses to fade, and every attempt to move forward risks reopening old wounds. What remains is a fragile balance where trust must be rebuilt on shattered ground, and silence is no longer an option. This ending is not about resolution, but about consequence, the quiet, devastating realization that some truths do not set people free, but instead bind them forever to the damage they leave behind.